Hey, welcome to Blue Dream Health Collective, where we talk about real health as well as chronic illness, self-care, mental health, and other interesting and educational topics. I'm the host, Misty Blue, a biomedical science major and a chronic illness warrior. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you love this episode. Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another episode. I have a special guest today, Erika, the Holistic Beauty. Erika is a fellow podcaster, and she's also a certified holistic health coach with a focus in endometriosis. Erika is also a certified gut health coach and a certified hormone health coach, as well as a licensed esthetician. I'm super excited to have the Holistic Beauty here today. Erika, please say hello and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for having me on. My name
Yay!
is Erika. Hey, I created the Holistic Beauty this year, 2020, to help women with endometriosis. So essentially, that's exactly why I went to school. I wanted to really learn more holistic ways to help women.
So tell me about your health story, because I know you have endometriosis, which is kind of what inspired all of this. So take me back to the very beginning when all of it started.
So I actually, in 2014, I was seeing this guy, and I had never had issues with men in my past. So I was seeing him, and all of a sudden, like, I just experienced so much pain. Like, felt like he was stabbing me, like literally stabbing me with a knife. And I was like, something's not right here. Like, this has never happened. What is going on with my body right now? So he made me feel really bad about it, and I was like really embarrassed. And I was like, I can handle you, don't worry. And he was like, yeah. And then the next time we actually got together, I was drunk, so I didn't have any pain the second time. So I was like, okay. And then I had my yearly pap smear scheduled, so I went to my checkup, and it was a couple months after this first started happening, and I brought it up to my gynecologist. I was like, I'm experiencing this pain during sex. I'm not really sure what's going on. So can we check this out? And she had done, they check out to make sure that you're healthy and everything, make sure you don't have STDs. So she's like, well, maybe you have like a UTI. And I was like, oh, that's okay. It doesn't feel like it. I've had UTIs before. Something's just not right. And she's like, here, just, take your antibiotics and hopefully you'll feel better. Call me if anything happens. So I took the antibiotics, and I was still experiencing this like sharp stabbing pain, and it just started like getting worse and worse. So I'm sure like with my gut, just like antibiotics just destroying my gut. I'm sure that's exactly why I started experiencing more pain. And it started happening more and more throughout like the days. I couldn't really, like, I would be at work, and then my friend brought it up to me. She's like, you're grabbing your crotch. And I was like, oh my
Oh
gosh,
no.
that's embarrassing. And I'm like, I didn't realize it. Okay, thanks for telling me. And I would try and like make a mental note, like, oh my gosh, don't grab yourself like
Wow.
you're in pain. So I had called up my doctor again. I was like, I finished the antibiotics. I'm still experiencing all this pain. My pap smear came back normal, so no STDs. And she's like, oh, well, here's a higher dose. Maybe it's a little bit more severe. And she had put me on that. And then she's like, I'm going to schedule you in with a different gynecologist. So this is like 2 weeks later is when I had the second appointment with the first gynecologist. So the first appointment with the second gynecologist, sorry, mix it up. But yeah, so we had that appointment, but I just kept getting this severe pain, and it was just so sharp. And my mom was like, no, we're going to go to the hospital. We have to see what's going on. So I had gone to a few different hospitals. I went all the way downtown Chicago. So I live an hour outside of Chicago. So I traveled to different hospitals trying to figure out what was going on. And it was just this huge runaround. Like, they're like, oh, well, you need to go check back up with your regular OBGYN. And I was like, she's not helping me. She's telling me to come to you. And you guys are telling me to go back to her. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see what the second appointment, has to offer. And I met up with a guy, like the OBGYN, he was the second one, and he was like, I think you have PID. I think you're going to die. So I'm going to admit you into the hospital this weekend, and we're going to just put you in the highest dose of antibiotics and do all
Hold on
sorts
a
of.
second. He said, I think you're going to die. Is that what I
Yes.
heard?
Yes.
What the hell?
I know. I was like, I didn't feel like I'm going to die. I was just like, okay, I just have this sharp pain, but okay, I guess we'll see what's going on. So he sent me
Wow.
immediately to the ER. He was like, you can't go home and pack your bags, nothing. And I was supposed to go see my favorite band over the weekend, and I was supposed to go to my cousin's wedding. And
Okay,
I was
wait. Who's your favorite band?
like, so my favorite band is Trapped. So I'm friends with them. I grew up with them.
Oh, cool.
They're in the media right now, not doing so hot, but I still love them. They're my friends. And
Very
um,
cool.
yeah, so I don't know. I'm like a huge rocker girl. I love
I
like,
love it.
yeah. But I like all sorts of music. So I was like really excited to go hang out with them, and that didn't happen. I was like, guys, I'm not gonna make it. I'm in the hospital this weekend. And they're like, okay, I feel better. And then my cousin, said the same thing. So I'm experiencing all this pain in the hospital still with like all these antibiotics. And then I go back for my checkup after I'm released from the hospital, and I'm still like getting this sharp stabbing pain. I'm like, where is this coming from? And it's just like taking me out. Like I can't even walk at this point when I get this pain. And the doctor was like, so how are you feeling? You feeling good? I'm like, no, I still have this pain. And he was like, I don't know what's going on with you, but I think we have to go in for surgery now to see if you have endometriosis. And I was like, what? What is that? So he gave me a pamphlet, and I kind of like skimmed through it, and I was like, oh, I kind of hope I don't have it, but I kind of do, because I just want an answer of what I have, like what's going on with my body. So I had my surgery in September of 2014, and he did find endometriosis. He said I was a stage 1. So I was like, okay, stage 1, cool. It was a bittersweet moment because I got the diagnosis, but
Answers, finally.
yeah, yeah.
So
And
did
I
they
was,
do was the surgery the laparoscopic procedure?
mhm,
Okay.
yep, yep. So they checked all around, and I don't know, he must have had a heavy hand because I didn't heal up very fast. It took me like a month and a half to like actually heal. And during this
Wow.
time, like, um, he was like, you should go find a specialist, but I'll help you as much as I can. And I was consistently calling. I was like, I can't return back to work. I'm on my feet all day because at the time I was working at a factory. And I was like, please just write me a note until I feel like good enough to like return back to work. And I was in and out of like the doctor's office until December. And then finally in December, he's like, we're putting you on Depo-Provera shot. And I was like, no, I don't want Depo-Provera. It destroyed my face the first time.
Oh,
Because
I
I was on,
got so sick from that. I don't
yeah.
like that.
Did you have like, did you get like nauseous and everything with it?
So I had endometriosis too, and they put me on every birth control under the sun to try to control it, and when I was younger, and it just made me so sick, like vomiting, severe migraines. That's when all of my migraines started for me, where I'd get like the visual disturbances. But yeah, I would get very sick, like throwing up. And then with the depot, so you get the shot every 3 months.
Yeah.
So that first 3 months I was spotting every day and for 3 months. And so I told them and they're like, well, do the next one and it'll go away. So they did the next one. So now for 6 full months, I had the spotting. And then when it came down for the next one, they're like, well, maybe just one more and it'll stop. And I was like, hell no, like I am done. Like I'm good. And that was another 2 months. So 8 solid months. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe it works for some people, but I feel like, they always kind of go for that. And for me
Mhm.
personally, that didn't work well for me. So what happened with you when they, gave you the depot, you turned it down?
So the first time I had taken it in my early 20s, I loved it because I was like, I don't have to have a period. This is awesome. Like I had a period for like a month, like the first time I got the shot. And then I didn't realize until like a couple months later, my skin was just, I was started to get severe acne and it became
Wow.
cystic acne. And I still have scarring because of it. That's actually why I became like a licensed esthetician because it was
Oh,
like,
I was just gonna ask that, is if that was what like inspired you. Wow.
yeah, I was like, I don't want someone else to feel like this. And I had acne in high school and I was known as like the pimple acne girl. So I was like,
No, that
so
sucks.
I was so destroyed when it happened again. So I actually found out after I ended like the Depo-Provera, the first time around, I found out that Depo-Provera was made for obese smokers. And I was like, I'm neither of those. So that's why
Wow.
my face was purging, they're trying to get everything out. And so the second time around, I was like, I do not want to go through this again. It destroyed my face. And he was like, well, you have no other option. And I was like, what? And he was like, we're going to do one round of this. We'll do it really light though. And I was like, fine, if it helps me at least get back to work. Because at that time, I had been told that I can't come back to work until I get like everything situated with my body. So I was out of a job and then finally they kicked me out of the practice. They're like, we can't help you anymore. Go find
Oh
someone
my
else.
gosh.
Yeah. So I was
That's
like,
not cool. That's not cool to just have someone and just be like, send them out in the world and not treat them. And then what?
yeah, I was like, no referrals, nothing. So I was on my own and I was like, I can't believe they just kicked me out of the practice. Like I had been going here from 16 till 24. So like I didn't know anything else. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I had to find an endometriosis specialist. And so I was going everywhere. I actually went downtown to have an appointment with this one doctor, and in the same hospital, ironically, there's another doctor with almost the same exact name as me. It's a guy, so his name is Eric, but he has the same last name, and he would have probably
Wow.
performed my surgery if I would have gone downtown. So it's
Wow.
like crazy, but everyone ended up like my insurance company. They all sent me to someone closer, and we started doing like some pelvic floor therapy. And he was just like, as soon as we get your hormones a little bit more regulated, um, we'll figure out a different approach. But he wanted me to like completely like detox the depo out of my system. But I was having such severe pain throughout this time. Like it got worse and worse. I actually had like cysts explode on me, like while I was
Wow.
walking. I was diagnosed with IC around this time as well. So interstitial cystitis. So, you know, I get cysts in my bladder. And basically it's very difficult. Like that's a whole nother story for
Yeah. And
me.
very
But
painful.
yes. Yeah. So I was seeing, a specialist in that. And my doctor, I was just in pain. I was in and out of hospital still. I was just like, I don't know what to do. I can't function anymore. He's like, we're going to go back into surgery. So we went back into surgery on St. Patty's Day of the following year. So this is like 6, 7 months later after my first diagnosis. And he goes back in and he finds out that I went from a stage 1 to a stage 3. So
Whoa.
it had gotten way worse throughout the, short amount of time. And he was like, okay, I cleared you all up. There's a couple lesions I can't get because they're too close to your bladder. And then shortly after that, he put me on the Lupron shot. And I know a lot of women, like, they do not like it, but I actually loved it. The only issue I had was hot flashes. But
And so
yeah,
what is that exactly?
Lupron.
Mm-hmm.
So it just it puts your body into like menopause. So like it just kind of stops your periods. It stops everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shot. It's like Depo-Provera. So it's
Oh,
just
okay.
it's made for prostate cancer patients, but it works well with endometriosis too.
Wow.
Yeah, so I loved it, but it's very expensive and my insurance couldn't cover it anymore. So I only got like a couple rounds, and you can't stay on that very long because it will destroy your bones.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I went on the NuvaRing after that, and then eventually ended up with the IUD. And I love the IUD. Like, putting it in, that's very painful.
Oh, because it goes in your arm, right?
No, it's inserted.
Oh, it's in not the arm. But what's the arm one?
I don't know
That's
what that
something
one's called,
else.
but
The
yeah, that's a
IUD
different.
is the one. Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So you actually, when you get your IUD placed in, you have to be on your cycle. So not only do you
Oh.
have your own like cycle pain, but it's, it's so painful. I'm cringing because I have to get it taken out in a few months and then replaced back in. But they use a clamp, and then it's like he shoves like the little IUD in. It's like, oh, you see
Ouch.
stars. But
Wow.
yeah, I've actually been able to manage a lot of my pain since. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily because of that, because I still had a lot of flare-ups, but I've been able to manage my pain through diet and just being able to control my stress levels. And then just trying a lot of different hormonal or holistic approaches too. So yeah.
Wow. So you offer financial and holistic lifestyle coaching for women with endometriosis. Tell me more about this and how it works.
Yes. So over the past few years, because I was out of a job after like experiencing all this pain, I was like, this is not right. No one should be able to like deal with this. And I know that in the community, a lot of women cannot work. So I've created a plan to like help women figure out ways that they can work from home as well as get out of debt and remove all that medical debt, because I've been in thousands, and if not like probably tens of thousands of medical bill debt. So I wanted to create a course for that. So I have that. It's an endo debt course. Currently, I'm not offering it because I'm adding more tweaks to it. But I am offering my vegan 101 course. So I went vegan 3 years ago to help my endometriosis. I was watching What the Health, and they mentioned it in there. And I was like, oh, I was a vegetarian at the time, and I was a pescatarian, lacto-avo. So I would have like fish, eggs, and then dairy still. And then once I removed it, my body detoxed, which was another painful day because it was like a huge flare up. But once I got past that, my body has been able to like really keep the flare ups at bay. So I created the Vegan 101 course if anyone wants to know, because I starved myself for like the first 2 weeks because I had no idea what I would eat. I thought the transition would be way easier, and it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be because
Mhm.
dairy is in everything. So,
Yeah, it's very hard if you've never done it before and you're
mhm,
transitioning. So I love that you can offer that to people because you really do need a little bit of education. Like I know the first time I had tried it, I tried things like artificial meats that were like not good, or I didn't know how to like flavor them or make them more like what I was used to.
mhm,
And it's really important to also make sure you get all the elements you need in your diet. So I love that you are offering that because that's definitely hard.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel like, they have a lot more options now these days. Like it's only getting better for vegans, but I'm never going to sit here and push veganism on someone who doesn't want to, because it's a huge lifestyle change.
Yeah.
It's more than just like your diet. It's everything, like what you put on your body, what you wear, just everything. Like my hair products are vegan. Like I love Pravana. Um, I wear a lot of skincare products that are vegan. So I can't really specify those because I have a lot. Like as an esthetician, you just can, you know, you take in so many different products there. Everyone's like, try this, try this, try this. You're like, okay. So I have a million samples of different
Yeah.
lines.
Oh, I bet.
I'm
I was
sure
just like,
you,
ooh, I want to send her a sample of mine.
I'm down.
Yes, okay, definitely. So what is your favorite like vegan snack or vegan meal that you make?
Ooh, I have a few. So I make spaghetti squash a lot,
Ooh.
and I do like a vegan Italian sausage with it, and then I cut it up with like peppers, and I season it. And
Yum.
um, actually, a lot of people like I've turned a lot of people. I taught them how to make spaghetti squash, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this has been like life changing. It's my new obsession." So that's probably one of my favorite meals. I make sweet potato enchiladas too. Those are pretty
Ooh,
good. Yeah,
sounds
it's super
good.
simple. I'll send you the recipes.
Yeah,
Um,
I love sweet potatoes with like black beans and salsa and so good. Such a good combo.
oh yeah,
Mm.
so it's like almost the same thing. I add some corn in there. I mean, not everyone can consume corn, but I don't find an issue with my diet with it. So I add corn in there, and like it's so simple to make. But that would be my favorite. Snack wise, I've always been a huge apples and peanut butter fan.
Oh, me too. Yes.
It's so good.
Mm.
Have you tried the Nutso peanut butter?
What's that?
It's like it's peanut butter, but it has like seeds in there, like chia seeds and like
Oh,
different types
oh,
of
you
like
know
nuts.
what? Yes, I have. I actually make like an apple crisp with it. I
Ooh.
chop up the apples and I put that in there, a little maple syrup, and I mix it with and cinnamon
Ooh.
with the apples, and then I put like the like coconut and oats on top and bake it. Oh, but I use that specifically because it's so good. It looks
Oh
weird,
my
but it's
gosh.
good.
It does. Oh my gosh. I had it with like celery last night, and I was like,
Ooh.
this is where it's at. I put it on an Oreo because Oreos are vegan.
Yeah.
Um, honestly, I like that more than I like regular peanut butter with Oreos now. Like, this
Oh.
is life changing.
Yes.
But
I'm gonna have
yeah.
to go to the store after this. It's lunchtime, by the way, as we record this.
It is. I'm like, you're making me
So
so hungry.
I know my stomach's growling. I'll have to see if I can silence that. So you have a podcast. Tell me more about your podcast. I'd love to hear more.
I do. It's called the Holistic Beauty Podcast. At the beginning, I called it Holistic Beauties, but that's actually a skincare line and skincare product. So I was like, oh, that's not going to work. So I changed it up. I was like, how can I make this, almost the same thing? So because I'm a esthetician, I was like beauty. And I was like holistic because I'm a holistic health coach. So I bring people on and I talk about different holistic approaches to help them with pain. I also like to bring other women on who do have endometriosis because I like to just share their stories. A lot of them have been able to manage their pain, and I want to like help someone who may suffer from endometriosis and like say something that I'm doing doesn't help them, but maybe something someone else does helps them. But I just really wanted to like, teach them different holistic approaches on there. So I I record, I used to record every week, but honestly, like with my schedule, it's a little bit more tedious. And I've noticed that I like to bring guests on, and I just like hearing their story. It's so much more fun than just me doing this alone. And I remember like I started it in March, so March of 2020, so this year, and I was like, I just want to make a difference. I want to help someone out. If I can help at least one person out, then I'm doing my job. Like, so
Absolutely. And I love that you're sharing other people's stories because they're all going to be so different. So, there's so many that have endometriosis, but everyone has different treatments or experiences. And so when you get to like see or hear about all of the differences, then, there's something that you can get from collectively from each individual. So I love that you do that.
thank you. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, how can people find it? Which, of course, I'm going to link. I'm going to put all the links in the blog post about the episode.
Okay.
But just if you want to mention how people can find you.
Okay. So you can find me. It's best to reach me on my Instagram. It's the Holistic Beauty with an IE at the end. Beauty regularly written was taken. Um, so the Holistic Beauty on Instagram. It's also on Facebook, or you can look on the website. Same with the podcast. Everything's spelled the same. I have my podcast offered on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, or if you want to listen to it off my website, there is a little tab for that. And then, yeah, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. It's probably like definitely the best way.
Yes, and anytime you want to show support for other for podcast people, for example, um, for those who are listening, if you subscribe or do the 5 stars, that really helps like boost algorithm. So even if you don't plan on listening to my podcast or your podcast, it's always like a really cool thing to do to help other people. And same for Instagram. When you like someone's post, you're helping to get other people to find that. Um, just a little tip for
Absolutely.
those listening, how they can support. Yes. Um,
Absolutely.
so, what are some common stigmas with endometriosis or IC? I know you have IC as well.
Um, Honestly, I hear that like um women with endometriosis, like they can't get pregnant. I hear that a lot. I hear that women cannot, like, that pregnancy cures it, that hysterectomies cure it. I hear,
That pregnancy curing it thing, like, is so, it's just kind of terrible because it's not, number one, it's not even true. But second of all, it's like the go-to tell someone, to like go through that when number one, like maybe not everyone wants to do that. And number two, then if they can't, and then they have to deal with that, like having their heart set on that and having issues with that. So I just think it's kind of a crazy, I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
I think it's so sad. So I get really offended. Like, I don't personally want kids myself. But I get really offended when people are like, just have a kid, it'll be okay. I'm like, no, I don't want to have a kid because I want to cure myself. I want to have a kid because I want to have a kid and raise it and, you know,
Right.
teach it the right ways in this world. Like, I I don't think that's okay, but I was told this when I was younger, when I was first diagnosed. I've also been told like um, that you can't have kids, and that's not necessarily true. I know so many people with endometriosis who have kids, and they've had it naturally without the IVF. I've met women who have had to use IVF because of it. So it just kind of makes me mad that like they haven't done enough research to find out that that is not what's going to help us. And there is no cure to endometriosis right now. So there's still so much research that needs to be done because so many women have so many different experiences with endometriosis. It's weird because we have very similar ones, but very different ones at the same time. So I've met a lot of women who suffer differently. Like there's different types of endometriosis. It could travel throughout your body. Like there's thoracic endometriosis, which scares the hell out of me.
Wow.
Um, and like
What's that
women,
one?
that one's in your lungs. So your lungs can
Whoa.
collapse because of the endometriosis.
And I'm sure that's probably very difficult to diagnose. When they think lungs, they probably think, something else, anything else besides
Yeah.
endometriosis, right?
Yeah. I saw a post the other day, the thoracic endometriosis ended up spreading, I think, down to the kidney on someone. I was like, I didn't even know that could spread. Like, I thought it was just thoracic endometriosis and that just stays in your lungs. But yeah, no, it could spread. So,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I've heard everything. I've heard that like you're supposed to feel um, pain with your periods. I've heard everything under the sun, I feel like. And it's just like, no, you're not supposed to have pain with periods. That's an indication that something is wrong with your cycle. It's something with like your hormones, like it can be an imbalance, and it could probably be an easy fix, but it also depends on a lot of other factors. So, yeah.
So, do you have any advice for anyone who maybe just recently got diagnosed?
So, my advice is to, I think dairy in general just messes with your hormones.
Inflammation and
Yes, it causes so much inflammation throughout the body. And I mean, most of us are not even made to consume dairy. So I would recommend limiting dairy as much as possible, if not fully eliminate it. Um, Anyone with endometriosis, like a first diagnosis, just like reach out to the community, start doing your research on endometriosis, and start finding some buddies, because a lot of us are going through like a lot of the same symptoms, and someone might have something that might work for you. Um, I would recommend that. I wish I knew that then. I went on Facebook groups and I saw like when I first went on, I was actually put off from the Facebook groups because I saw all these women just suffering and no one was doing anything about it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, just, I feel like you just have to put yourself in a positive mindset that, you have to take it day by day. You have to work on this, like, as a whole. It's going to take time to find out what works for you. But, just be positive that you're going to be able to function normal again. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
So do you have any last minute things you want to add before we wrap up?
Um, that everyone should subscribe to you and give you 5 stars.
and you, the holistic beauty.
Thank you. Yeah, I have my vegan 101 course right now. So one more day, I guess. So I'm offering that. I'm offering 30% off until December 24th. So I
Very
don't know when
cool.
this will be released, but feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions on going vegan, or feel free to reach out to me on anything about endometriosis.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask, what are your plans as far as like courses go coming up for the new year, 2021?
So I do have a hormone course coming out. It's about balancing your hormones. And then I have a gut course coming out as well. But I
Very
do
cool.
have a major course I'm working on towards the middle to the end of the year. So I do have a couple more courses coming out here in the
I
next
love
couple
it.
months.
So can we subscribe to your blog to like keep up with the news?
So you
Or
can
is the Instagram better?
Instagram is way better. I guess I don't necessarily have like a full-on blog on my website. It's just more, you can find out a little bit about me, some facts about endometriosis. There's PDFs I'm consistently adding to it. So if you want to learn how to prep for your laparoscopic surgeries, I teach on that. I also have a blog or a PDF coming out soon on questions to ask the doctors to make sure that this doctor is like the right fit for you, and to make sure that they really know what they're doing, because a lot of gynecologists don't know very much about endometriosis. You probably know more than them, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's so true because when you go to a specialist like a gynecologist, if that is their specialty is gynecology, but does that necessarily mean that they specialize more in fertility issues or endometriosis or polycystic ovarian syndrome? I mean, there's so many things that are encompassed in that, and then you
Mhm.
have the OBGYNs. And so some of them, it's like, just like with the neurologist, like when you go to see a neurologist and they specialize in seizures or migraines, but you have some other thing going on, it might be
Mhm.
outside of their scope. So that's why it's so important to like talk, almost like interviewing doctors and finding out, if it's a good meet. That's definitely important, especially with everything that you had gone through. It's scary to just be when you don't know and you're just thrown out there like, and oh, I give up on you.
Oh, absolutely. I actually, one time when I was, going through doctors trying to find a new specialist, I actually brought in the first laparoscopic pictures because they give you pictures after your surgery. And I brought those pictures in showing that I had endometriosis. And the guy looked at it and he's like, I see you have endometriosis. And then, like, within the same sentence, he's like, you don't have endometriosis. I'm not going to help you. And I was like,
Wow.
what? It's in your face right now. So yeah, it's not everyone is as great as they seem. Not everyone's going to be the right fit for you. So
Wow.
yeah,
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. And we definitely have to keep in touch. I
thank
would love
you.
that.
Thank you
All
so much for
right.
having me. It was
Yeah.
fun.
Please be sure that you subscribe to the blog, which is bluedreamhealth.com, where you can find additional links and information on this episode. You can also check out the digital magazine on our website, as well as find us on Patreon, where you can be a supporter.